essentially we are in a starvation state right now. Energy is shuttled to the brain. That's our best means of getting food. The seagulls back there look delicious. You guys want to go walk a bunch?
Be skinnier when I see you.
I'm gonna find a place to pee.
I've been trying to lose weight. My pack is probably like 38 pounds right now, 38 to 39 pounds. 2 pounds of gummy bears, 3 10-pound metal plates, a change of clothes, a few other snacks, 1,000 milligrams of salt, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium. They actually make water taste kind of like food, you know, so you don't feel like you're not eating.
This is Mr. Dave Castro.
No introduction needed.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows Dave. This is Carter. I just met him about 2 weeks ago, so he might be a serial killer. I'm not sure.
Remains to be seen.
Both are former SEALs, right?
Yeah.
This is Ben Alderman. He's got a gym up in Sacramento. Actually, I've never met him before. He's just one of the few that is crazy enough to do this. And we had 10 that were originally doing it, and we are the final remaining 4. So really just want to be able to show that it can be done without food. You have so many endurance athletes that are constantly refueling, constantly pounding M&Ms and Skittles throughout because they feel like got to keep their glycogen stores topped off. And truth be told, when you're fat adapted, and it happens pretty quick when you're under load and under condition like this, your body just starts to understand how to use its own substrates as fuel. And I just want to demonstrate the different chapters that the body goes through, like when you're deep in a fast, especially under load in the endurance moves. And then I think the real reason we all want to do this, we all want to eat a bunch of damn pizza afterwards. I mean, I think everyone's going to be fine. Psychosomatically, people are going to think can't do it without food. You're fine. I would say most risk is going to be cramping and, you know, inescapable cramping, in which case, if we encounter that, so we got lots and lots and lots of electrolytes.
No quit. On
Don't
3,
quit.
2, 3.
No quit.
There you go. All right, guys, quarter mile in. 140 more of these to go.
You put it like that. Trying to pack my weight up towards the top.
Yep.
So I put a puffy yoga mat rolled up to stack, so it's all light in the bottom, and then I put like a little like a medicine ball and then some weights on top.
What kind of weights are you using?
Just weight vest, little
okay.
5-pound bricks.
I use like little tiny, like 10-pound med balls.
Yep.
You said you're prone to cramping?
When I'm low carb, I am for sure. Like, you know, double-edged sword because I perform better, but gotta constantly replenish. So I've got the element which is super sodium focused, and then you've got super potent magnesium tabs if anyone really goes south on it. And then some potassium-based electrolytes too, which technically have 1 gram of carb in them, so we don't want to go there unless we really have to.
Are we 2 miles in?
What's up?
We're 2 miles in?
Almost. Sure.
Almost. I gotta change my watch to miles and kilometers.
This is
We're actually
6.28.
Wow. Damn!
Yeah, we're cruising.
Easy day.
There's where we started up there.
So how's it been so far?
So far, so good. Hip was a little tight in the beginning, but it's loosened up quite a bit.
Clutch.
Yeah, these things are pretty
The
awesome.
man with a plan. They say wherever you start feeling heat, that's
Yeah.
where blisters start, right? So Got that heat on the back of the heel. Still got a little bit of, just a tiniest little bit of skin right there. New skin. Good to go.
We're 6.28 miles in. It is 7:45. We're actually a little bit ahead of schedule. We're moving at a good clip. We're moving about 3.5 miles per hour or so, so a little faster than we anticipated. You know, right now, it really is sort of this second chapter, so to speak, of kind of what everyone's feeling good. I feel good. You know, the body is doing what it's supposed to do. We're zapping through the glycogen that's in our muscles and the stored carbohydrates. And because we're under load and our quads and our hamstrings and our glutes, the biggest muscles in our body, are zapping that, we're going to get to a point probably in the next few miles where it doesn't feel quite so good and we're transitioning and we're kind of zapping all of that. So normally, you have enough muscle glycogen and stored carbohydrates to get you through a few hours of workout. But in a move like this where we're just going the same repetitive motion, we're probably getting through that pretty quick. So case in point, we feel good, but we're not producing ketones yet. The effects of being in a fasted state aren't even an issue right now because we have plenty of stored immediate fuel. So everyone here feels fine, myself included. Even Ben, who's not adapted to fasting, is feeling totally fine. There's just no real issue. But right now is this pivotal point where I've instructed everyone to be getting like 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of sodium in at this stop, because as the muscle glycogen is gone, it's leaving, you're losing what's called the intracellular water and the water that's actually going to be held in your muscle. So once that intracellular water is gone along with the glycogen, that's when the dehydration starts. Right now, everyone, even myself included being low carb, have carbohydrates stored in the muscle, and that's drawing water in. The moment that starts rushing out and we've depleted glycogen, remaining hydrated becomes increasingly more difficult. So now is the time, when you still have osmosis kind of working in your favor, to load up on sodium as much as you can. Otherwise, the cramping, if it's going to hit, it's going to hit around probably between 9 and 15 for most people.
So how are you guys doing right now?
So far, so good. 6.5 or so miles into it. Feeling fine, but it's we still have, 5 more of these to go. So we'll see. Ask me that question in 2 more stops. I did a handful of training rucks leading up to this. He didn't do any. So this distance is well within what I trained for. So I even did a 15 miler with Thomas a few weeks ago. So I'm not worried about, let's call it the first 15, but that's why after that, it's kind of, we're going into new territory. I'm looking forward to seeing if my body can hold up. I'm not worried about the mental challenge of it.
Right.
I'm just worried about at 44, I'm a little older now. This many miles with that weight on my structural systems, I'm hoping everything just stays in place. And I'll get through it, but I don't want to fucking by mile 20 and 25 be fuck, my legs cramping up or my knees inflamed or my ankles giving out, because then I have to push through it. So I want to get through it and feel physically fine. And that's the only thing I'm worried about.
Right now, we're all sort of going together in a tight little group, chatting, having a good time. If at mile 20 we're all strung out, heads down, that'll mean that it hasn't gone as well as we hoped.
Yeah, I got a couple hot spots. Anyone else need them?
Okay,
Do you want to just hold on to it for next time? I should have gone both feet last time.
Yeah.
Ben was an idiot.
Much better. Thunder thighs. Look at that fucking guy. Look at his thighs. we're at 12 and a half miles in. So at this point, everyone's feeling still pretty good, but you're starting to notice that you have a little bit less of that literal explosiveness, kind of pep in the step. And what I mean by that is, that bounce you have in the beginning starts going away, and you're kind of landing on the heel, it's just a little bit of a louder overall just feeling. And that's typically the result of the fact that glycogen stores are depleted, and now you are kind of forced into this phase where the liver is converting other substrates into energy. And what I mean by that is you're taking fat, you're taking literally protein from cells that are broken down through an autophagy process, and you're starting to create glucose from other components of your body. So you've drained the carbohydrates that are in your body, and now it's really interesting because the body starts pulling apart old components of cells and breaks down proteins and breaks down fats, and it starts literally turning them into glucose in the liver called gluconeogenesis. This is a relatively inefficient process. So in an effort to get like explosiveness, it's just not going to happen because you're not able to pull glucose into the system that fast. Now, the way this is going to manifest for everyone here is endurance-wise, everyone's going to feel fine. But from a musculoskeletal side of things, you are really starting to suffer. And it's starting to feel like biomechanical things, but it really is just muscular fatigue. And until we get to a phase where ketones start to come in, it's going to be kind of a sufferish next 5-7 miles, and then things will transition, and you'll have the anti-inflammatory effect of ketones, and we'll get there when we get there.
How's your body doing physically? What are you noticing?
I was asking around the guys, I'm like, is this thing when it goes numb, does it just stay numb and I have to just live with it for the next 20 miles, or is it does it come back to feeling all right? Yet to find out.
I'm gonna lie to you.
David.
So far, I feel pretty good. Feet just feel a little of the pounding, but the difference between me and Ben, I actually trained for this a little more than he did. He didn't do any training. So, and that's not dogging on him, it's just the fact of it. Like, I put miles on and he got invited a few weeks ago. So, so I'm in a little better position, structurally prepared for it.
Essentially, like, when you start feeling like a little bit of a cramping sensation or the muscle not really activating as well, there's two things that can be going on. It can be a sodium issue. Sodium is going to be what really gives you that contractile strength. But if a muscle contracts and doesn't really relax, it stays balled up and stays tense. And it's potassium that's allowing that muscle to essentially relax, or that contraction to relax. So it's an action where potassium opposes magnesium and kind of pulls it like a slingshot to allow a contraction. That's why we're constantly pounding the element electrolytes, because they're rich in potassium. So you've got 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium. So we're pounding those like crazy. I think I'm on my 5th or 6th one. So 5,000 or 6,000 milligrams of sodium that I've had come in. And I've had close to 1,000 milligrams of potassium. And that's all in an effort, especially because we're fasted, to not get into this cramped state. But if you've reached a cramp, you've gone too far. It's going to manifest itself in just muscle weakness and fatigue, which all of us are kind of feeling to a certain degree. But you really do feel a lot of power as soon as you kind of bring those electrolytes back in. And it's largely because of the potassium at this particular stage. And I also put a link down below for people that want to try Element. So there is a link to get whatever Element boxes you want, but then along with that, you get a free sample pack with all the different flavors. So that link, they've sponsored this whole event. They're awesome. That link is down below in the description, so check them out.
I was also invited 2 weeks ago. I feel good other than I got some blisters on both the balls of my feet, little one on my left heel. Other than that, I feel really good actually. So we'll see. Maybe that's keeping me from feeling some other stuff, but for now, it's all I'm really worried about.
Food, I don't feel hungry at all. I feel fine. Like, I fasted a lot leading up to this because I knew I was going to do this months ago with Thomas, and I've never fasted all my life. So this was the first time I started doing it and training in a fasted state. And so coming into this now, no issue. That it feels really good. I don't feel at all, no hunger issues at all.
I woke up this morning with a pounding in my head I'd never seen. It's clear to me my tolerance these days just ain't what it used to be. Oh, Father Time is on my back. I'd hoped he would avoid me for a while. If I've reached the point I'm slowing down, well, damn, slowing down in style. it's down to you and me, well, I'm betting on myself every time. 'Cause if I've reached the point I'm slowing down, well, damn, I'm slowing down in style. Yeah, if I've reached the point I'm slowing down, well, damn, I'm slowing down in style.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. My bad.
Thanks for flying up from SoCal to do
I
this.
got on a plane to do this shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. We are 17 and a half miles in. We're at the dead halfway point. We're at a place called Pizzini Farms in Castroville, which really kind of the middle of nowhere, but you know, a mile is what a mile is. So we've been going for active movement for 5.5 hours or so. At this point, you know, everyone's been fasting since about 5 p.m. yesterday. So even Ben, who hasn't been doing any kind of fasting or lower carb protocol, like he even at this stage is probably starting to produce ketones. But what's happening now is the rate of what's called gluconeogenesis is starting to decline. So we're no longer producing a whole lot of glucose from other substrates, as now we are all starting to form ketones. So what that's doing is kind of making us feel this nice, consistent flow, right? Now, that's not counting anything you might feel biomechanically or physiologically as far as your body is concerned. But as long as some ketones are starting to form, you can almost feel like you can go forever in just a low, steady intensity. So we're cruising about 3.5 miles per hour, which is clearly utilizing what's called beta oxidation, where our cells are thriving with fat as a fuel source at this point in time anyway. And now that we're producing ketones, we're getting a couple of different benefits here. We're getting just stable energy, which is making us feel almost mildly euphoric. Our brains feel good, there's good conversation, everyone has energy, which is different from 5 miles ago when we were all it got eerily quiet. Nobody was really talking to each other. Now we're feeling good. Plus there's the psychological aspect of being at the halfway point, knowing that, you know, now we just are heading home. But there's also different things that occur when ketones are present. You know, now at this point we have an anti-inflammatory effect coming from ketones. So, you know, some of the guys were talking earlier about, I might stop, get some ibuprofen, I might need to get some aspirin. That's not as much of a topic of conversation now. My left calf was giving me some trouble at like 7-8 miles. My hip was hurting. I'm at a point now where I feel like I took 2 aspirin. Like I can feel it, but I feel everything feels good. I feel like I have good blood flow. And cerebrally, if that's a word, is things are just great. Things like mindset is good. Feel mentally clear. I feel more mentally clear now than I do on some of my best days just in ketosis. So the fact that we are producing ketones and also circulating them because of the massive amount of blood flow is just a good time. And you know, you see drinking tea here, you're thinking, well, is that breaking a fast? You know, in this case, we're talking literally 0 calories. Well, black coffee, green tea, black tea. Caffeine's actually going to help mobilize fat more. So what caffeine will do is it'll help get the fat out of a fat cell into the bloodstream, where it then goes to the liver, and guess what? It gets turned into those ketones. So the more caffeine that we have, the more ketones we can ultimately form once we are moving. If we were staying sedentary, it would be a different situation.
Well, this was a mango chili element.
Yeah.
That tastes good.
The mango chili one is bomb. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I'll let Ben speak to it himself, but Ben's a perfect example. The guy is he's not someone that fasts much, and he's very open about that. I've been really strict keto the last 30 days and have been mostly for the last 12 years. So for me, excuse me, and for Dave, they're very fat adapted. So coming into this is not difficult, whereas Ben has this big shift. And Ben is just a great example of someone that would be jumping into fasting and sort of an exacerbated example of what's happening in the body. He's like walking proof of like, hey, yes, I'm feeling this right now. And I'm really excited to see what happens to Ben in the next 5-6 miles as like the ketones really start to crank up for him as someone that's never experienced it before, because he might literally feel like he is high. It's gonna be pretty cool.
How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Are you in pain?
Yeah, not hungry at all, which is kind of cool. We were just talking about that a few minutes ago on the trail, and it's neat to be in that zone where you're just exerting and not worrying about wanting to eat. Feet feel it a little, starting to feel the pounding. I think that the call to run over the railroad tracks is just fucking ridiculous. That just pushed this whole thing to the next level. Too dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier these guys were speculating about how they thought they'd feel at the halfway point. They said, man, I feel surprisingly good. And I said, I think I feel like you guys were speculating you were going to feel. So I feel all right. I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything, but got some pain creeping up the legs a little bit and, you know, low energy. Like I said, I don't do this very much.
How do you feel about turning around and doing it all again?
We have a victory. We're really happy right now because we have a small victory. We don't have to go all the way to the other chair.
We're doing just 35.
We
not
looked
40.
down at our phone and I was like, hey, we're at like 17.2 already. I go, and then I Google Castro, I go, that's still another 1.8 miles. Why are we going to add 5 miles?
What has been going through your head while you're walking? When you're out there alone, just taking steps one after another, like, what kind of things do you just think about? What do you process?
Little chunks, little landmarks, little next site, but just make it to that, just make it to this. And then when we saw this, let's not go there. We've gone far enough. But now, like this last stretch, it's all going to be the stuff we've seen, and we're just going to cruise.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, we're going to get like target fixation.
That's right.
Towards
We
the
know where
climb.
we're going. Yeah.
And we're going to want to just move.
There was a moment when we thought we had like another 3.5 miles, but we were going to turn around where we were slightly less upbeat.
Yes.
Maybe significantly less upbeat. They're like, no, let's keep it to just 35. That was a
35 for 35,
That's
not
right,
40
yeah.
for 35.
Exactly.
You have to roll out the
Exactly.
time.
I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah, 35 for 35.
None of us are really hungry though.
Keep hydrated.
So I've noticed you guys are a little spread out now. You want to give us an update on what's happening?
Yeah, Ben's having a rough time, so I was helping him with some blisters, giving him some pole skin. Carter his feet are basically one giant scab. He's not gonna quit.
How are your feet feeling?
Knock on wood, good. Hips are a little stiff. I feel better now than I did in the first 6. You know, still got about 10 more miles.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but I got new shoes. My wife actually found us at one point and dropped me off a pair of new shoes. The other ones were bugging me real bad, and these ones are much better. But I've got a couple of good sized hot spots on the bottom of my foot, each foot, so every time I push off, it hurts pretty good. I figure I won't die because I'm with 3 guys who know how to survive. So they'll take care of me. I just do hard workouts. That's what I do. So the reality is I do 2 things. I run a gym called Iron Mile Fitness in Sacramento. And it's named Iron Mile because in 2013, I did a workout where I carried a 275-pound yoke for a mile. The other thing I do is I run something called the Overcome Project. It's a nonprofit where we work with at-risk youth.
About 10 miles left. Feeling pretty good. A little bit of chafing, a little bit of diarrhea feeling, but don't want to let it go because I don't want to lose fluids. So, pucker up.
Single digits left, man.
Thank God.
Single digits.
My feet are fucking toast.
Short answer, how you feeling?
Hurting right now. Feet are really blistered. It's really chewed up. Not good. But we're down to under 10, so just gotta keep going now. Hope that it doesn't affect anything else. Hope the hips stay clean. Man, that's brutal though.
Besides feet, physical things, with mind and stomach.
You know, like, my feet hurt so bad that I just keep my mind off anything else. And frankly, I'm no hunger issues, no energy issues. Just, every time I take a step, I fall on my feet, it's just staggers. But I don't know, all things considered, it is what, we're 25 plus in? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 25 in, so could be worse, I guess.
play I'm Going on a Picnic?
Don't know what that
What?
is. I don't think so.
It's where you, it's a memorization game where you just like, I'm going on a picnic and I'm bringing apples. I'm going on a picnic, I'm bringing apples, bananas, and first gets a different letter. Like, it's kind of cool. It's, you know, but let's do, or how we could do exercise. It's like, I'm going on a picnic and I'm gonna do aerobic dance.
I'm gonna do aerobic dance and biathlon.
I'm gonna do aerobic dance, biathlon, and oh gosh, I can't think.
You know this one. Come on.
CrossFit.
Oh, that's clean. We're at almost marathon distance, just about 26 miles. We've been going for about 9 hours. We're clipping right along. Everyone's feeling froggy. Actually, we're nuts now. The chafing, the pack hurts, stuff, shit like that, the hips, but legs are definitely, they're feeling it for sure.
Think those compression socks made a difference?
Huge difference, yeah. I'm sold on him. I'm impressed with that motherfucker, because his feet are like, he's got like no skin left on the bottom of his feet. He's like, if I stop, it makes me think of it, so just keep going. Look at these fucking socks. Pretty cool. I'm gonna sport these more often. I mean, they're a lifesaver. No blisters. Like in between the toes? Or...
Yeah. You gotta wear those with your dad's sandals.
Yes. Oh yeah, right. How you feeling? Like outside of the feet, how you feeling? Okay. You have a watch for me? You need some like ketones or anything? Might perk you out?
I don't know, never taken it.
Yeah, it could also give you diarrhea, so it could backfire pretty bad. I don't know if it's worth the risk or not. You're moving at a good clip though.
But yeah, I mean, I just gotta keep going, I think.
Is
it back for me?
Is your it's the body or is it the motor?
It's the feet. It's the body, yeah, it's the motor. Not the engine. Not the energy. Here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are
Okay.
we stopping anywhere?
Carter does not want to stop because he says he's like fucking. He died 2 weeks ago and nobody told him. So like I don't know, or at least 2 miles ago.
He doesn't need to, but I'll probably stop then.
Okay.
If you guys want to walk and talk, I'm good with that.
No, it doesn't matter.
Where was the last stop?
This is the last stop. We got 5 miles. The body starts to break down, but the mind keeps going, and that's kind of the nature of ketones in the first place, right? Right now, if I were to measure my ketones, I might be 3-4 millimolar. I might be pretty high levels of ketones, and what that means is my body, for what it's doing right now, is running on essentially sheer fat turned into ketones. Now, mentally, I'm on fire. Like my brain, I'm doing trigonometry in my brain as I'm walking for fun. And it's not true. But the point is, my brain is going like crazy. My body, on the other hand, is definitely deteriorating. It's not gonna stop anything. We're at a little over mile 30. We have less than 5 miles left. Like, it's just basically gonna be a little bit of like sap and sweat that's gonna get me through this. It doesn't really matter. You could chop off my leg and I'd still find a way to finish at this point with less than 5 miles. But the body breaks down, and this is a perfect example. Even when your body is broken down and completely deteriorated, what is shuttled and reallocated to the brain are high amounts of ketones and also high amounts of glucose simultaneously, because as humans, our best means of survival is fuel to the brain. Our prefrontal cortex, frontal lobe in general, giving us that executive function to make decisions that will keep us alive. So we're not like a lion where we rely on this innate amygdala response to survive. We have a prefrontal cortex that overrides and teaches us or tells us how to hunt, how to survive. Consequently, when we are in survival mode and we're starving, like essentially we are in a starvation state right now, energy is shuttled to the brain. That's our best means of getting food. The seagulls back there look delicious, and I probably could have found a way to get one if I wanted to, but I'm not, because we're not done yet. Now, as we walk further, we're really doing more harm than good physiologically. Don't get the right idea. This isn't a healthy thing. After 30 miles, the muscle's going to break down. You know, we'll kind of revisit this in a little bit as we get there, but you know, there's, especially in a lean individual, they're going to start breaking down muscle tissue at some point. And there's not enough ketones in the world to preserve that. It sure helps, but the interesting thing is probably preserving more muscle right now in this state than people would think. And it's just because of the presence of those ketones being so elevated right now. So we'll check in a little bit. We'll catch up with the rest of the guys.
Oh, mentally feeling pretty good, focused. Oh boy, the lower legs, so, and the feet, kind of drowning out whatever keto high I might have. So, but physically and mental are two different worlds. So the nice thing is the mind's still strong, but not just being strong for a little while, but being strong over a distance, being strong for time, you know?
Running actually felt better to just have a different gait pattern for a little bit. So food does smell good. Food, it's funny, as you get towards the end, you start thinking about the end and actually being able to have food. So then consequently, all of a sudden you want food. Kind of funny how that works, right? Smelling all that food, it's like, okay, I could live with this. But what's going on in my body right now is strongly being, just having basically a massive psychological override. And my ketones are so high that probably have an anti-neuroinflammatory effect. Basically, I'm having less inflammation in my brain, so my brain feels clear, my brain feels good. The body hurts, but you know, yeah, just want to get done. You know, every once in a while, you got to hit the reset button on yourself emotionally, because otherwise you just get too fucking cocky. You got to humble yourself. And just adding to what I said, happiness is only real when it's shared. Chris McCandless.
You wanna know why I keep running? Because at this point in the game, his legs and stride are still long and powerful, and mine are not. And so I don't want to fall behind him. The only way I can keep up with him, and I'm not trying to pass him, the only way I can keep up with him is by jogging these short sections. See, as we're both walking, I'm so fatigued, my gait's so much shorter, he can just step it out, and to close the distance, I jog up to catch him. If I hadn't been doing that this entire time, I'd be fucking quarter mile back there. Second thing is, I'm pretty good at running with the Ruck, so it doesn't affect me much. And actually, it's a nice relief. It feels pretty good to change up this with a little jog. But it's a statement to his strength in his legs and his composure. And it's a statement to my breakdown in those areas. But I don't want him to finish this so far ahead of me. That's why, like I will right now, jog up to catch him. That's how much he gains with just his stride.
I remember the days that I just couldn't wait to get out and be on my own. There was so much to do, I had so much to prove. not wanting to do it alone. And I put it all on my shoulders, and I set out to conquer the world.
So we got to the ending just now. Dave says, no, we got to go further. We got to go further because we're not at 35 miles. So we're going to go further and then come back. What a dedicated man to the challenge.
Tell you what getting there really means. It's raising your kids, being with your friends, getting all that you can out of life. One thing for sure, you can't buy anymore. We're all on borrowed time. You get one go around, so make today count. 'Cause you're all on borrowed time.
There we go, 35 miles. Under that. It's official. Dude, seriously, 11 hours? Less than 11 hours? Yeah. Hell yeah. Now I'm actually hungry. It feels good.
Oh, it was way too much. It was way too much.
Good stuff, dude. Oh man.
Man, that last mile was something else. Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh god, dude.
Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I was hurting.
Fucking it. That
That's
was
how I was
one
hurting.
giant blister. Literally his whole foot.
Yeah, the bottom and the heel too. It's like that on both feet.
You gonna be able to walk at all tomorrow? I mean,
No, probably not.
you might need a wheelchair getting on the plane.
Yeah.
He flew from LA to do this.
Yeah, I got on a plane to do this. Yeah, that's I would train seriously before doing that again. I didn't train at all, and it was just like, I mean, other than the blisters, I feel okay. Like I feel appropriately tired for the rest of it. But it's just like for the last, for the shit. So it's the first scene.
Yesterday, I instructed everyone to do an ETRF protocol, early time restricted feeding, where they basically consolidated most of their calories towards the morning, heavy front loading of proteins in the morning, tapering protein as the day went on, and increasing fat as the day went on, with the last meal around 5. So it wasn't full ETRF, it was more tapering ETRF with consolidation of calories. What that did is it prepared everyone metabolically quite well, because it kind of introduced them by flooding the body with free fatty acids to the point where being able to generate ketones was an easier process. This is not what you think it is. It's protein powder. And one of the things that I'm very adamant about is right when you break a fast, you should really be bringing in protein first. We got to stop this muscle protein breakdown that's happened. Okay, it's always a delicate balance of muscle protein breakdown and muscle protein synthesis. That delicate dance of how much have we broken down, how much can we synthesize afterwards. Right now, especially now, my body is just catabolizing. It's just eating a lot of proteins, not necessarily from muscle. Okay, I mean I do this kind of weird, crazy stuff all the time, and I still maintain decent muscle.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But the protein breakdown in general is just not something you don't want to be living in that state for a long time. So I have 2 scoops of like whey protein isolate, nothing else, unflavored, nothing but literally just pure whey protein isolate. It tastes terrible. And then I have 2 scoops. I brought one. I was gonna give one to Dave too, because I know he's been really into breaking the fast strategically. So that's gonna be the first thing. I just gotta find something to mix it with. Then I'm gonna give it 30, 45, 60 minutes, and then then I'll introduce some food, and I will have some pizza, which goes against the grain of kind of how I normally break a fast. But this is a special occasion, special event, and I haven't had a carb in like 40 days. So Dave and I metabolically had an advantage, and that's why we finished where we did. Plain and simple, we were adapted. But we all feel good. Carter's feet fell off a few miles ago, so he stumped it on through. Dave, just Dave. Ben is he's coming. I admire that guy. Like all these men today, like just top-notch individuals, top-notch people, and I mean that in so many different levels, like physically, mentally, emotionally, just their moral compass, just all solid dudes, and what people should really, my opinion, strive to be like. And I'm not just saying that because they did this crazy thing with me. 35 miles with 35 pounds, did it in 10 hours and 50 minutes of actually moving. So let's go eat. Now we got Ben coming in.
I lured him with gummy bears at the end.
Intense moral support right now, bro.
Good stuff, man.
You did it. Oh.
Good stuff, dude. Thank you so much, man.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Dude, those last.
Yeah, this is my wife, Amber.
I'll do this never again. Oh my god. And it was like I was by myself because I couldn't keep up with you guys.
Can't stop. If I stop now, I will not start again at
Yeah.
5 miles. And
How
then they
bad are your
passed me
feet?
at like 3.
How bad are those feet?
They're quads. I don't know how. Dude, it's like just sheer. It's like a blisters this size under both.
Man, I'm so happy that's done.
Dude, the best part about that thing is being done. The only good thing about it.
That is horrible.
Yes, 100%.
We are not sponsored by this.
You know,
I noticed.
my ego wrote a
Thomas
check.
is
My
not
body
having
was
any.
really unwilling to cash.
They smell so good. Not endorsed by our friend over there.
I got my bag of unflavored, unsweetened protein powder. He's got something way better.
You can take as many as you want.
Get any closer.